discussions today centered on the World Environment Day. So it's been celebrated all over the world, even though the major celebration is happening in South Korea. It is evident that about 150 countries or more are celebrating this day. That's to tell you of the importance of nature. We have a conversation already. We've had one, and this is the second conversation around this celebration, the commemoration of the World Environment Day. And of course, I have the Executive Director of Age Green Campaign Initiative right here with me as we look at some very important issues around the World Environment Day in the person of Mr. Simeon Odo. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here this morning with you. Thank you very much.
You're looking colorful. You're ready for action already.
Of course. I mean, today is the D-Day, and then you know what we're in for today.
Celebrating World Environment Day. What's the significance of celebrating this day?
Yes, just like you rightly stated on your early statement, we are commemorating, joining the rest of the globe to commemorate Environment Day. And I mean, for us, it's a day just like people do their birthday, all right, and do some marriage anniversaries. I mean, those things bring to our conscious, the fact that we have a place called an environment. We have a society, and we remind ourselves of where we are as a human being, and then of course we look at the challenges associated with our environment, and of course we proffer solutions on how we can have a very eco-friendly environment.
All right. Age Green Campaign Initiative has been on the campaign side, and we are aware that a walk will be happening today to sensitize people to declare war against plastic pollution in Nigeria. What do you think when you say plastic pollution? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Because a lot of Nigerians need sensitization, and I know that's part of the reason why this campaign is coming up.
Yeah, so it's the campaign is coming up because it's important that we begin to identify the harm that plastic pollution have caused to humanity. And as a people in a country, we need to start looking at the danger of plastic pollution as it affects our ecosystem, as it affects wildlife, and it affects human health. And so we are trying to see how we can all, first of all, identify this problem, the ripple effect, and we can see how to proffer solution, and we can see how to particularly get involved in solving the problem.
Now, what's the level of orientation for Nigerians? Like we know, we have countries of the world today where plastic has been recycled instead of using it for pollution, polluting the environment. Nigerians, how some Nigerians, let me not generalize, some Nigerians, how they pollute the environment with this plastics. But some persons go into recycling these plastics to come out with other materials and even earn income out of it. Yeah. How is the level of orientation for Nigerians?
Yes, so I can tell you that the level of orientation and awareness is very, very poor. And this is part of what the Age Green Campaign Initiative have started. And then, while we are not completely advocating for complete eradication of plastic, we're saying that, of course, there are some certain categories of plastic we are calling on government to come up with some policies that will possibly stop them entirely. But again, it's not entire plastic. We are trying to educate Nigerians, as part of what we are doing today. Over the week, we've had a very busy activities. We've been to schools, we've been to several radio stations and television stations, and we continue to create the awareness. Now, we are trying to let Nigerians know that plastic are not meant to just use and dispose. All right, you mentioned something like recycling. You know, actually there are three categories. Plastic can be reduced, plastic production. That is one of the ways to solve the problem. Plastic can be reused. That is another way to solve the problem. And again, you talk about recycling, which is on the last category. And certain plastic are meant to recycle. So again, we are trying to see how we can take an advantage of available plastic. Like I said, we are not advocating for complete eradication of plastic use. And then, but we are trying to see how people can take advantage. And plastic as a waste can actually be converted to wealth. All right. And then if you follow us carefully lately, you've seen a couple of activities we've done. We've tried to create wealth, create businesses and employment, particularly around the youth who are jobless, on how they should leverage the plastic pollution or plastic waste to make a lot of money. So particularly for us, that is even one area we are very key at.
I think I love that, especially the slogan, waste to wealth.
Yes.
You know, that's very important. Doing that, you are trying to solve a problem for the federal government. Now, it is one thing to make a move and to get support, all right, from the federal government, especially when you talk about turning waste to wealth. Now, how informed is the government? Because on our program this morning, we're talking about the fact that the Federal Ministry of Environment is supposed to play a key role. Yeah. The National Orientation Agency is supposed to create awareness and also be part of the campaign. Excellent. Now, how is the support? What's the level of support from government, and what's your intention? Because sometimes they may not even know. You know how some of these people get into these offices. Absolutely. They may not even have this awareness. Yeah. So how has been the support of these key stakeholders? Okay,
again, we have had a lot of, even this program we're on today, we're actually in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Environment. And then we've gotten some level of support from them. And then they have played a lot of rules. They have done the best. But again, you need to remember that, you know, economy or a nation is not only driven by government agencies and institutions. There is a place of private sectors, okay, to collaborate through PPP to be able to drive economy and build a kind of eco-resilient society that we want and we are going to join. So yes, there are a couple of institutions. There are laws, there are bylaws, there are activities that are currently going on with the relevant government stakeholders. And then we have identified with a couple of them. We've had a couple of meetings with some of them. We continue to plan a program that will benefit the citizen as regards to this aspect, this space. So again, we are joining our force with the government to see how we can work together to achieve results. So yes, government have done a lot, and then we appreciate the level of support. And again, we are still calling on the government to give us more support. Okay, so yes, there are more they can do. We appreciate what they have done, and we are still hoping for them to do more.
All right, it is World Environment Day, and of course we have the Executive Director, Age Green Campaign Initiative right here, who is also part of the people organizing how the World Environment Day should really go. Now, we're talking about sensitization. You know, it's very difficult. It's difficult, especially from this part of the world, to convince people, all right, for behavioral change. Absolutely. You know, this is what a lot of people are used to. A lot of people are used to this plastic pollution. You know, some even look at it as a normal way of life. You've been in the forefront. Most of that today is World Environment Day. How has been the acceptance, okay, be at the process of sensitizing the people? How is their reaction like?
Okay, so like, you know, they say there's a journey of 1,000 miles. We'll start with a step. Change is something that is constant. Unfortunately, people don't like change. And then, but like here in Age Green Campaign Initiative, its slogan is "Change Begins with Me." We've started, and then I can tell you that yes, we are getting kind of a response, members of the public. Some of them, like you said, because of this behavioral pattern, and then it will take some of them quite time to adjust. But we've gotten some good response. Part of what we're doing is that we are looking at different ways. We are looking at the children, we are looking at the youth, we are looking at the adults. And then, like I stated earlier, the part of what we have done is that we go to schools and sensitize the school children. And we've gotten a lot of positive response from the members of the public. Again, there are persons who are still struggling to adapt to this new change. But again, we continue to raise our voice higher and higher until everybody come to understand, because there's something about environment that people don't really understand. It's something that affects you directly. Okay, you are not doing it to make anybody happy. You're actually doing it to save your own life, because the society, the environment, it belongs to every one of us. You can imagine it trickles down as little as you wake up in the morning, you tidy up your house, your room, your compound. That is even where it starts from, before we even talk about going to the street. And so these are the things people must understand, and this is part of what we are pushing and doing and saying. That people must understand that the waste you take from your house and trash on the street has a way of coming back to you, to come and harm you. And when you understand your life is tied to this, I don't think you'll be foolish enough not to save your life.
When you know your life is tied to this, you wouldn't be foolish to claim ignorance of that. That's very important. You said something very vital while we're talking about the fact that you wake up in the morning, the first thing that should come to your mind after your prayers is to tidy up the environment, beginning from the bed that you slept on. Now, let's look at this situation critically now, looking at the environment. I've once been to a city where you don't throw things anyhow. You don't just litter the place, because the government authority for that state have set up a task force, to follow up whoever does that. They have their own cars. If you throw it out of a car, they will come after you. Do you think that is also necessary in Nigeria to enforce or to instill this into the people? Because we're talking about pollution here. Anything, the moment it is being called pollution, it's no longer good for the environment.
That's true. Okay, so yes, I know you're talking about basically two things. We're talking about laws and enforcement, because naturally human beings have the tendency not to comply with the laws. And then that's where a place of enforcement now comes in. And then while we continue to educate them to understand why they need to own the environment, take it as personal responsibilities. Again, there are a couple of persons who wouldn't want to comply with the law. And so what do? A place of enforcement now comes in. And then it's not only as it concerns environment. Generally we have a lot of laws in this country that people are not even aware that it exists. But again, they say that ignorance is not excuse. And so we encourage the government, and it's part of what we are asking government to do, to possibly create a task force, and set up penalties, fees, that you need to pay for actually going against the law. And it has to be enforced strongly, of course, in line with the constitutions, provision in constitutions. So it's part of what the government need to do, because as a private sector, we are limited to the things we can do. And so we actually using this platform to call on government to begin to look at area of enforcement. And just from the federal level to the state level to the local government level, those laws that are already made, people are not aware they are there. Government should come up with a task force to start enforcing it as it affects environmental pollution.
But what informed your own campaign now, especially the work that's happening today? Because what makes this work very spectacular is the fact that in some other parts of the country, all right, we've not heard of a walk. It could be happening in other parts of the country. But then even outside the country, you hear of people doing walks, all right, to just pass a message across. Now, what informed the idea of doing a walk in Abuja? Because a lot of people will be part of it, and some persons may also want to be part of it, but they need to know what it stands for and what the significance is and what it stands to achieve at the end of the day.
Okay, good. You see, Nigeria youth waking up towards environmental challenges, and it's good that young men and women are coming from different parts of Abuja, and we're expecting nothing less than 200 persons to be part of that awareness work. And basically what we are doing is to make a statement, okay, that we are rising, working to environmental awareness. And so that work is not just going to be just to walk. There will be a campaign, there will be sensitization, awareness will be created, some materials will be shared, and people need to get some level of communication through that work. And again, it's a signal we are sending that, hey, even if it's possible that something like this have not happened before in Nigeria, it's possible it has happened in some other state, but you see, this is area we are channeling our effort, and this is part of what we do. Okay, so the awareness work is to make a statement, and if you come out anytime from 10 o'clock, you see people, and of course you see people, stickers will be given, some materials will be given that you're going to go back home and you continue to reflect on. So it's a statement we want to make today, and I can tell you there will be huge media coverage, and then that is going to settle in the minds of Nigerians that a group of people have risen, you know, to tackle the menace caused by this plastic general environmental pollution.
All right, we are going to be rounding up very soon, but then there are some areas we need to look at, because when you talk about environment, it's very important, because that's the only place that we have. When you talk about pollution, is there a specific, okay, because I was watching, there was a clip about some statement that Guterres was making on one of our programs today, and we saw some level of pollution still connected to the World Environment Day. Are there specific kinds of pollution, all right, that this plastic cause? Because for the world to take plastic pollution serious, it is something. Before now, all we know is carbon monoxide, you know, our basic pollution. All right. So now, do we have specific kinds of pollution that this plastic cause, and how it affects the environment, the atmosphere, you know, the human environment generally?
Yes, like I said, today the whole world focusing on plastic pollution with the theme Beat Plastic Pollution. And of course, you know that it's not only plastic that pollute the environment, but today that's the theme and that's the focus. Yes, so plastic pollution have really caused a lot of menace in our society. Unfortunately, a lot of people have not looked into it. And like I said, it has endangered our ecosystem. It has affected wildlife and human health. Particularly, you find some of this plastic in our water bodies, in oceans. We found them on a mountain peak, and then you'll be shocked to know that some of this plastic have actually found their way into human body. Okay, just a few days ago, I was interacting with a friend who I was told he flew outside Nigeria for a neurosurgery, and then it will shock you that at the time they carry out the neurosurgery, they discovered a piece of plastic inside his brain. And then this is part
in the brain, not even in the stomach.
In the brain. And so you wonder how a plastic passed through the artery and the blood vessels to get into the brain of human being. You see, this is that is the level of damage that the plastic have caused for human. And then the numbers keep going. And then, so that is caused for a reason, because if a plastic have found his way into human body, and sometimes people don't really look at these things critically, because you talk about, we are not even coming on the side of the flood, okay, and some of the flood that we've experienced today in this country, in other nations of the world, are man-made as a result of choking waterways, okay, that have in return have come back to us to attack us. So there is a lot of damage plastic pollution have done to humanity.
Wow, I think while you were talking about the erosion, my mind just went to Mokwa, where that massive flood happened. That's true, because if you get to the marketplace, you see how people just throw plastic. It is everywhere. I don't know, but it's common with Nigerians. You know, they just finish taking water, they throw it away. They finish using oil from this plastic, they just throw it away. You know, and these things gets the drainage system blocked. And at the end of the day, like you said, the waters come, having nowhere to pass through, they return back to us. And that is what causes this flood if there's a heavy downpour. Now, I think you're speaking more to the people in the environment. Do you think the Ministry of Environment is doing enough?
Yes, we cannot say they have not done enough. We cannot say they are not doing enough. They have made a lot of efforts. But like I said, we need a collaboration, because they on their own cannot solve the problem. You know, it will interest you to know that part of what we do at each campaign is not just to encourage the policymakers to come up with policies. Because the issue of waste, okay, when it comes to waste and environmental sustainability, is so huge, and it calls for collaboration from the government, private sectors, you know, scientists, individuals, and then even traditional leaders, religious leaders. Because part of what we do in Age Green is that we go to the markets and we continue to sensitize members of the public. We are media, often social media, so that by all means we can help the government to solve the problem. Because I can tell you for sure that the problem of environmental challenge were man-made. We created the problem, and again, it's human being that should solve the problem. And while the Ministry of Environment are making effort, of course, we cannot say it's enough, because if we say it's enough, that means they have solved the problem. So we are calling every stakeholders to come join hands together, so that together we can fight this environmental challenge.
All right, let's get back to the campaign, the work that's going to be going on today. You said, well, you are expecting 200 and more. Now, as it is right now, Nigerians are going through so much. One of the areas that really interests me is the area of waste to wealth. Are they going to be thought, people that are coming for the campaign today, are they going to be sensitized? Apart from, hey, don't pollute the place with these plastics, are they also going to be shown, because you can't be solving a problem to cause more problem.
Exactly.
All right. If you're solving a problem, you are bringing in a solution, and that solution should be sustainable. Now, people who are going to be part of the campaign today, what do you want them to take home? As in, apart from, all right, don't pollute the place. The area I'm even more interested in is the wealth. I'm saying this because of the nature of the state of the economy. You know what people are going through. People are hungry, you know, as a result of one or two policies. And in a bid to reposition the economy, we find ourselves where we are today. So anything that has to do with wealth, the average Nigerian will be interested in it. Do you have platforms where you actually sensitize people? Don't pollute the place, the environment with plastic. Rather, you can use it to make money, and this is how to do it. Do we have such opportunities for the youths, especially?
Absolutely, we do have. And then if you look at Age Green Campaign Initiative, we say that we promote cleaner, greener, eco-friendly society, and then we do that by way of advocacy and a community-based service. Now, it's not just to move around and tell people don't pollute the place. We've actually have a program we've created for that will last for 5 years, and the target is to create employment for over 1 million Nigeria, okay, using plastic waste to wealth. And then, part of what we are going to do today is to make them to take responsibility of the environment, make them to own their environment, make them to identify fully with us and understand the vision of Age Green campaign. And of course, we will be interested because we have members of the NGOs who have gone into different skills. They are developing some skills. If you come to my office, you see a couple of things that members have made. And we have some of them who now go to school to teach school children how they can use plastic or waste, okay, to make money. And so it's a long-term project for us. And again, we have started today. After today, we have different sessions. People are going to register, those who are interested. There are some members of the community whose their job is to go out and picking plastic waste all over the place. And when they bring it, we buy the plastic, or we get some members who are into that business to buy the plastic and give them money. All right, and that way they are already making money.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah, we do that already. Oh, and we also collaborate with some other bodies.
This is an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people can pick plastic, all right, and you tell them how to convert it to wealth.
Yeah,
to buy it from them instantly.
Yeah. Because you see, people must know this, and if you live in area where you have too many plastic bottles, or you come across areas where there are a lot of plastic bottles, you don't have to sit. You can actually take it as a business. And sometimes, interestingly, most of these guys we call mebolas. Okay, we look at them because of the way they look. They look very dirty. I mean, most of them are really making money. They are making a whole lot of money on a daily basis. Just pick plastic waste, and then if you don't have off-taker, all right, just contact us. We are somehow either going to link you to a member who is doing this as a business, or we also we can even buy it and then hand over to off-taker. So the point is that we want to encourage everybody to start, making money from waste, and that's just one side. That is what you can do immediately without any stress. We are not even talking about recycling. Okay, we are not even talking about using waste to manufacture a certain things that you can sell and make money. And these are the skills that members who are good in that aspect, okay, are now training other members and other Nigerians to learn. I mean, like I said, one of these days I invite you to our office, and when you come there, you find a couple of things we have done, a byproduct of plastic. And there's quite a lot. It starts from little and it's very huge. I don't know whether you know of what we call waste to energy. Okay, you can as well use, so it's got to that level where as a nation we should start looking on how we can even use waste to tackle the issue of power challenge in our nation. And I can shock you, that waste can actually generate enough megawatts that is have the capacity to supply entire state or some local government with
just
electricity.
Plastic?
Not only plastic, I mean general waste.
General waste?
Yes, there are some part of waste you can use to generate electricity. And we are in touch with some companies in Europe, okay, who are actually fully into that. And very soon, as you keep following our activities, you will see, we'll be bringing them. We'll be bringing them to Nigeria, and we want to engage them. We want to see how we can collaborate together to convert our waste into wealth, and particularly in the area of the power sector, so that we can, by all means, solve the problem that have bedeviled us in this country.
If we have something like that, why, if there is something like, one of the major problems we have in this country is energy.
Yeah.
You see the way I was just looking at you when we were talking about the fact that waste can actually generate energy for us, electricity.
Absolutely.
Because the major problem we have, one of the major problems, I don't want to say the major problem because it's going to be one out of the so many problems that we have in this country. One is energy, because a lot of businesses depend on energy to survive.
Yeah.
And businesses are folded up. You know how these people who are in charge of this energy are so stingy with it.
Yeah.
Let me use the word, permit me to use that word, stingy with it, because you're paying so much, and Nigerians are complaining that they are not getting so much value. So why has the federal government not taken advantage of generating power through energy? Or have you proposed that to them? Or you feel they know, and because the Minister of Power, can I tell you something? When the president gave the instruction that people should go to the media, especially ministers, to tell Nigerians what they've done. And of course, afterwards, some ministers were shown the way out. A lot of people were speculating that the Minister of Power was going to also be shown the way out because of the way things are. You know, Nigerians, how they speculate things. So that's to tell you of how important the energy sector is. So now, why are we not taking advantage of energy in Nigeria, waste in Nigeria to generate power?
Yes, I mean, you know, we are currently engaging some state governments, and then we are making progress on that. And then, where the issue of energy is a big one, I won't use this platform today to speak about it because we have a very limited time. But again, it's important you know that we actually have opened up a conversation with some of the state governments, and then if you followed recently, Lagos State government have actually been doing very well on the aspect of waste, on environment aspect in particular. You know, it's only Lagos State government who have came up to stop what we call single-use plastic. And then currently I know of company that we are also partnering that have actually signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with Lagos State government on how to use waste to generate energy. And so we, like I said, we are engaging some state government, and we are calling every other state government to rise up, okay, and take this advantage. Because if you look at Europe as a continent, you realize that there are over 400 waste to energy plants, and there are companies all over in Germany, in Finland, all over the places who have developed technology that allow you to use your waste to generate energy. So we are actually using this platform to call on government, call on state government to, you know, own this and take this very serious. And we are open for further discussion on this aspect.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on the program. But before I let you go, I need to ask you this question, because from what you've said, I was even thinking, so people can actually pick plastic, because the truth is this: there are some parts of this country that if you go to today, you see plastics everywhere. Yeah. Especially the drainage, where you just see they can't go anymore, so the water pushed them out, yeah, and they're everywhere. I never knew this condemn, or what do they call it, these babambolas who go to pick these plastics are doing so much, because we see some of these women picking it, and what they use is wash it and put zobo,
yeah, zobo,
you know,
yeah,
and all of that. So now, let me just leave it at that point. I want you to speak to Nigerians on a final note now. What is your advice to Nigeria? It's World Environment Day, yeah, because one shocked me, the fact that plastic had to find its way to someone's brain, and the person was lifted from Nigeria outside for treatment, and the surgery had to be done, yeah, to bring that out. Meaning a lot of people are exposed to danger unknown. We heard that even putting plastic water in a car, and when it's heated up, there are some chemical that, yeah, is being released into that water, and when you take it, it becomes dangerous to health and all of that, apart from the pollution. Yeah. Now, what's your advice to Nigerians and the federal government?
Okay, thank you very much. My advice to Nigerians at large is to join us on what we are doing. Let's put our voice together, okay, to fight this plastic or environmental pollution. My advice again for the government is to collaborate with like ours, and so that we can again join hands together. And then lastly, I want to encourage listeners today that every time you have plastic around you, think on three things. Okay, think on how to reduce the plastic that's circulating around the environment. Now, think on how to reuse the plastic. Okay, in other words, we will buy your bottled water, buy your plastic Coke and all this together. When you finish drinking it, don't just throw it anywhere. Keep it somewhere with intention to reuse. And again, start thinking on how to recycle plastic. And if you need us to help you, to give you further understanding on how you can monetize this, you are free to reach us. Okay, our office is in Abuja here. You can go to our website, you can follow us on social media, and you can reach us to us directly on our phone number, and we'll be glad to be of help to you.
All right. Thank you very much. That has been the voice of the Executive Director of Age Green Campaign Initiative, Simeon Odo. Many thanks for joining us. We don't have all the time. I would have loved to ask so many questions.
Yeah, we'll come again.
A lot out there that people need to know, and it's so good that people are getting to know about Age Green Campaign Initiative, and you are doing so much, working with the federal government to make sure the World Environment Day is a success. All right. Thank you once again for coming. Viewers out there, many thanks for joining us for the second discussion. Global Morning continues after this break. Stay with us.